Hello there, this is Sue at Miller's Laboratory. Thanks for joining me again. This will be part 4 and the final part of my series on making extreme flip-flop journals. I just wanted to make this little intro because the last video I cut in two because of the length, and so it's gonna just jump right in the middle. I thought I needed something at the beginning here. These are the 3 books that are all finished, and I like how they turned out. I would call these naked journals. They're very neutral. I have not decorated them in any way, and I have not put anything in the pockets. Whoever purchases these, it's all up to you to decide the theme and what you want to do with them. I love how I made the little hymn page stick out the top on each one. This one says Secret Prayer. This one says Bless Me Now. And this one says I'm happy. This was the first one I made. I love that. So these make me happy. There are 11 signatures in each one, all stitched in, for a total of about 220 pages roughly. And then there are also 3 mini booklets that are attached inside that you would have seen in the last part. And so anyway, let's get to this last part where I do the finishing details, and you can look for these in my Etsy shop. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. So now I'm going to just bring these on here. So if you remember when we discussed this at the beginning, there's 15 envelopes in this book. 12 of them were used here in the construction of the book. And there's 3 more that are just going to make little extra mini booklets that are inside the book. Okay, so I have already gone through and sort of put the papers together and got them all clipped together so they're easy to do. We're going to do 3-hole pamphlet stitch on these as well, and these are going to go super quick because they're just tiny, but we're going to sew all 3 of these together too. Okay, so I have this little tiny one here made from this little envelope. I have this one which is made from a jeweler's envelope with a window in it. And then I have this one which is going to be made from a handmade envelope here. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm just stitching these together like 3 little mini booklets, and I'll be right back. Okay, we've got our 3 little booklets all stitched together. I'm just going to show you those real quick here. So everything on this one is stitched with the flap here. Just you know, a few little pages in here. Some coffee dyed phone book, which is kind of a fun paper to use. Okay. Here's this little itty bitty one with the little tiny envelope. Little doily in there. Okay. And then here's the last one. And there's a little pocket for that one. There's a little pocket actually on all of them. I just didn't show it to you. All right. Okay, so let me show you where these are going to go. Let's clear away some of this stuff. We're pretty much done with stitching for now, so let's get this out of here. I do have some clips marking these, so I'll leave my clip box out here for a second. All right, so our first one is going to go right here. Yeah. Trying to mark where these go so that I can just zip right through with you guys. Okay, that's not working. There, okay. Just take it off. Okay, all right. So this one is going to glue right on here. We're going to glue it, and we're just going to glue the flap so that we can flip everything up this way to open it. Okay. All right, so I'm using my art glitter glue for this one because I want this to stick like crazy. Okay. leaving just a little space. I'm not going all the way down to the paper, just so that there's a little bit of room there for everything to open. I'm just going to put it right there. And we'll come back to that, okay? All right. Now that one is just going to be done. We'll let it dry and it's done. Okay. Now I'm going to flip back here to this one next. This is where we're going to put this little tiny one. And it's going to fit right here, and everything's going to open this way. So here's our little pocket, and then here's our pages that we can go through and look and write and tuck things in there and such. Okay. So we're going to be gluing that by the flap here. Oh, and I didn't say that. When I stitched these little guys together, I stitched from the outside starting, so the little knots were on the outside. I just thought I would do that just for something different. Thought it was cute. All right, so same thing, we're going to put our glue on here. Really good. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. It's Saturday. Saturday's the day that I'm filming this. And we had a nice day. I'm just going to press that, and for right now I'm just going to leave that. We're going to come back to it though, because we're going to do something where we can hold that closed. All right. I'm going to flip the other side here to where this last one is going to go, and I think it goes on here. Yes. All right. So this one is just going to glue on here like that to make an extra little booklet on the front of this envelope. So about there. Just kind of centered it there. Press it down good. You can come in here and press it down here too. And that one doesn't really need to be held closed because it kind of goes with the grain of the book anyway. So that one is all done also. All right. Now we just have a few little detail-y things to do. And I tried to prepare this so I could go right through it without too much fuss. We're going to have little closures for all of the envelopes that have a flap like this. Let's grab this. So this is just a little piece of a digital print of wallpaper that I used elsewhere in the book. And I glued 2 layers of it together so it's nice and strong. And we're going to glue this on here. We're only gluing this half of it so that we can slip this flap open and closed underneath it. Okay? So easy peasy, just used a circle punch there. If you don't have a circle punch, don't worry, I'm going to show you something else here in a minute. Okay, I'm just holding that up a little bit so my angle is better and I can see that I'm getting it in the center. And then we're just going to leave that alone for a while. I'm not going to try to open and close that envelope until that glue is really set up well. Okay, now I'm going to flip the book all the way over to the back side. We have this little envelope here. Same situation, we're going to want to hold that closed. And so what I did for this one, instead of a circle, is I used this punch that I have that punches out a little tag shape. And so punched out a little tag, I tied a little piece of jute on there, and I'm just going to glue that on, just again on the bottom part so that you can slip that flap underneath there. I want to make sure that string's going to lay nicely. So we're going to glue about from here down on that little tag. You don't want this too tight because it's difficult to get that flap in and out if you don't give yourself enough leeway there. There. That's just going to open like that and slow it back in like that. All right, good. Okay. Now a couple more things that are a little more fussy, but very cool. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to that little envelope booklet that we glued in right here. This little white one. Centered up there, okay? All right. I thought a lot about what I wanted to do here. I mean, that stays closed pretty well, but if you were just flipping through the book and then you wanted to close it, you can see that kind of gets hung up there a little bit, and I thought it would be nice to have something to hold that closed. So you could have a piece of ribbon. If you'd glued a piece of ribbon underneath the flap, you could just tie it closed. I find tying to be a little, I like the way it looks, but it's a little bit fussy. So I was kind of going through my stuff and I found photo turns. Now, don't ask me if you can still get these. Look how yellowed that plastic packaging is. But these were from Joann's at some time, and they were $2.99, and they called them photo holders. I don't know if you can still get these. I don't know if Joann's still has them. This is something I have from way back in the day, but they're cool. They just look like a little arrow, sort of. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hook that with a brad so that we can slip it down and we can rotate it back and forth, and it will hold that little book closed. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to do is, kind of got everything ready here. I am going to position my spot here. You want a little bit of space above above your last page so that you're not going to rip anything. But you want to make sure this is going to come down enough to be on top of the envelope. So I'm thinking right about there is going to be good. All right, and I'm just going to take a pencil, and what I did here is I punched a little hole. This is like an 1/8 inch hole in the center. So I punched that out of a double layer of paper, and then I could see where that was, and then I used a little like a 5/8 inch punch to punch out the circle around it. Okay, and that's just going to be a reinforcement. So I'm going to put some art glitter glue on it so it's nice and sturdy. Glue it down. And then I'm going to line that back up with that little pencil hole that I made there and glue it down. Okay, all right. Now we're going to take a little brad and we're going to put it through the hole here, and we're going to poke it right through. Now I'm putting my fingers inside this envelope because this is a pocket at the top, if you remember, and I don't want to poke all the way through the other side. I only want to go through the top layer. So I'm just going to push that in there, and it's through. And then this is a little fussy, but you've got to open up the legs of that brad. So I'm going to just turn it around so I can see it a little bit better from here. And I'm just kind of pulling those brads so that they're aligned kind of horizontally here. Okay. All right. So there's my brad. I don't know if you can see in there. It's right there. Okay. So we're going to put a little piece of paper inside there and glue it down. And this is just something I prepared. It's just a double layer of scrap paper, nothing fancy. You want to get all these edges glued down nicely in there. You do not want that brad just exposed in there, because what would happen is every time you put something in the pocket, it would get hung up on that. So you need to make this smooth on the inside is what we're doing. So sorry, I gotta do a little gymnastics here to see what I'm doing. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's on the inside, but there. And that will just make a nice smooth edge all the way around that paper, and it will also help to keep that brad from tearing out and moving around. Okay, so how that works then is you just rotate it around and it holds everything closed. Isn't that cute? I love that. Okay, all right, so we got that guy done. Okay, now one more little fussy thing that we've got to do. So sorry guys, you know, but it's the details that make it really cool, right? Okay, all right, so I'm going back to more at the beginning here to where we have the two white flaps, these here. And I love the look of those string closures where you have the eyelet with the piece of cardstock or piece of card, and you wrap your string around back and forth. But I just didn't feel like getting out the eyelets and doing all of that. And so I'm doing something similar, but not quite the same. And again, I dug through all my old supplies, and I found, I was looking for bigger brads. And I found these, which were from Making Memories, if you remember that brand. That was really big back in the day. There's some really cool looking, really pretty decorative ones here that are bigger. Okay. But what I decided to use were these, which I think came from Hobby Lobby because it's Paper Studio, and I think that's their brand. And these are also just nice big brads. You could even glue like a cabochon in there, or punch out a little picture like a cameo or something. That would be really pretty to do on those. So of course I'm not doing any finishing on these, so I will leave that up to you guys. Okay, all right, so we want to kind of try to position these evenly, and I just want to see about how big that is, and we want it a little bit away from the edge. So I'm thinking, I put my pencil right here, that's about where I'm going to want it. And if I just use my ruler here, I can just help to make sure that I come straight down from that and make another mark where the second one will go. So there's going to be two of them here. Okay, all right. Okay. Now we need to reinforce again, and on this one I just chose to use my masking tape because it's easy, and it goes with the rest of the book. So okay, so I'm going to put a little piece on the inside here and on the inside down here, just to make that all a little bit stronger before I poke the brad. Okay, it's a little tricky to get these down in here. You can do it. You can do it. All right, so I'm just kind of opening that envelope up a little bit, and then I'm coming down here, guessing pretty much where that goes. By where my finger is, we're gonna go right about there and just press that down. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm gonna just use my little blade to make a hole in each one, and I'm just being careful. If you, safety first, right? So we probably shouldn't do that, but I can do it for this one. I can just poke the hole like that. But I really don't have anything small enough to get down in there except maybe my ruler. And I'm not that worried about it. So I'm going to just come in and poke my hole right here. Just a tiny hole. Or, okay, there we go. All right. So the other thing I'm going to do here, what we're going to be doing is wrapping string around these. So it's annoying when they're super tight to the paper and you can barely get the string back there. And so what I'm doing is I'm adding a little jump ring around the prongs or the legs of the brad before I poke it through, and that will act like a little bit of a spacer and keep that from going too close to the paper. So I'll poke that in. Go, go, go. Okay. And then I am just kind of aligning these so that they're, again, sort of neatly horizontal, because you're going to see through that tape a little bit and see them. So, okay, so there's that one. We're going to put the other one here, and we're going to do the same thing with the jump ring in there. It's a little harder to do when you're having to go down, way down into an envelope like this. Helps me to turn it so I can look in. So I'm looking in from this side. And just kind of flick those a little bit and they'll come apart, and then you can flatten them out. Okay. Okay, so there's that. Got those both in. Okay. I'm going to put another piece of tape over this one and over this one, again, to reinforce, keep those brads from pulling out. If you wanted something pretty on here, you could punch a pretty shape. Or if you were really thinking ahead, you could have put this in before you put the lining in the envelope, and then that would be covered up by your lining paper. That would be the very professional way to do it. Okay, all right. Now when I put the tape down in here, we're going to have the same situation that we had on the other one that we did, where I really don't want, if I'm sliding something in here, if I'm sliding something into this pocket, I don't want it to get caught on that brad. I want a smooth surface there, and I don't want this tape to lift up at all. So I am going to put an extra little bit of our glitter glue around the edge of it, just to make sure it's really sealed down. A little bit in the middle doesn't hurt either, because it'll be where the prongs are. Okay. Again, I'm just going to lay it down, slide it where I think it needs to be, and then press. All right. So when that's closed, it'll look like that. Oh, I got them a little bit crooked. Oh, how did I do that? That's okay. It's okay. All right. And then string. I have another just little piece of waxed linen here. I'm going to tie that right around here. Let me cut myself a good piece so that I'm not trying to deal with that spool. And I'm just tying myself again a square knot right up underneath there, so it's around the jump ring and the prongs of the brad. That right off close. Good. And then this is going to come down here and wrap around like that. And I wrapped it 3 times. And then I'm just going to tie a little double knot here to make like a little handle. So I just go through the loop twice instead of once to make a little bit bigger knot there. Okay, turn that off. All right, and that is that one. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm not going to make you watch, so I will turn off the camera and do that. We'll come back for a final flip through and we'll be done with this book. I'll be right back. Alrighty, we've got all the little details all done, and I'm just going to flip through this with you. I'm zoomed in, I think, as much as I can be without losing some of the picture. So we have a pocket here. We have some lovely old book pages here. A really pretty digital print. And a nice place to write here. Most of these signatures have 4 or 5 papers in them, so about 8 to 10 pages. This is that first little envelope. I'm not going to open it up. You know what it does. You just open the string and you can open it right up. We have the same thing over here on this side. Some pretty German paper here. Old newspaper article there. And this is an Italian, some sort of an Italian dictionary. And we have a pocket here. There. Okay. We have a pocket here, a nice big tall one. And this is that little booklet that we just put in together. Lots of places to write or glue things in here, whatever you choose to do. Lots of space. And then we go back through the same little pages here. Love this little math book someone had written in it. I love to find stuff like that. Some old practice letterhead from a business school workbook. Beautiful sheet music, really nice thick paper there. This is some tracing paper, and this is from a reproduction of a Sears catalog. And then just back through the same pretty digital print there. This is a top loading pocket, so you can put something in there. I'm not putting anything in the pockets. I'll let you guys do that. This is an old ledger page here from the late 1800s. It's very grungy, but I thought that goes with the grungy book. Some sort of engineering page here. A dictionary. And just blank ledger page here, or bookkeeping page. Here's our little booklet that we made. A little pocket here to put something small in. We've been through this, so I'm just going to go through that quickly. And this is a top loading pocket here as well. You can put something in there. This is from a boat building book. Very interesting. This is that slot pocket we made, so you can put a long tag in there. An old German book here, really interesting paper. And a pronunciation, sort of a little book. And some pretty coffee dyed paper. This is actually from, I think, a practice calligraphy book. And here's a pocket. Some, that looks like French. And there's a little stub there. You can add in a page. Shorthand. And I think my son told me this is Chinese, Mandarin, or I'm sorry to say I don't know. I like the look of it though. And then there's that little pocket with the flap. Okay, let's flip through the other side. Another pocket here. Some really pretty sheet music here. A digital English. Oh, this is from a Greek learning, a school book about learning Greek. And this is the bottom of that ledger page that we saw on the other side. It was just too long, so I just, when I tore the bottom off, I stuck it in here. Here you can see the Greek there now. It's interesting. I like the looks of foreign language books. I think they're cool. Okay. Now this pocket here, this window pocket, we put the stuff in it over here. So whatever you put in, you're going to want to make sure it's pretty on the back so that when you flip over to here, you can see it through that window. Some more German, really beautiful brown paper. And here, I don't know if you guys remember from, I think the second video, when I was when I was constructing this, it might even have been from the first one, there was a dirty spot on that envelope that I fussed with, and I could never really get that to look nice, so I just put a little piece of paper over it. This is from some kind of an old book about clothing. And like trigonometry or something there. Top loading pocket there. Side loading pocket here. From another hymnal. This is from some sort of a Bible study that someone had written and typed. An old teacher's planning book. And a large print cookbook. I thought that was kind of neat. I love the huge font. Here's our little mini booklet we glued in. Pocket there. This is from an little old ledger book, just a plain sheet. Top loader there. This is from an Ideals book with poetry in it, and this is from an old needlework magazine, pretty old. This is, I think, Latin. This is really nice feeling paper too. Ooh, love it. So this was like a leaf. So this is actually folded here. I took the two papers and I just folded them in half. So you could cut this apart if you wanted to, and you'd have two little pages there. You could make this into a really long, tall, skinny pocket too if you wanted to. This is a seed catalog, and this is the print. I printed this out. I have this in a digital form. Okay, we're getting there. This little signature, this is just the front page of an old book, and you can see the girl's name there. This is from an opera book, The Magic Flute. Another digital, and some coffee dyed paper, and an old math book page here. And then there's a stub inside that one too. Okay. That brings us back to the beginning. Thanks for coming on this journey with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope maybe you learned something, and I hope you had a lot of fun. I sure did. I'm gonna finish up that other book, and then I'll get these in my Etsy shop. and I can't wait to see what you guys might do with them. So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.